There's something I see again and again with high achieving leaders and entrepreneurs. They have built something that looks successful from the outside, but internally there's this tension. And that's not always dramatic or loud. It could be very subtle. Just a constant sense of this is not truly me. And here's the interesting part. It's rarely because they don't know what they want, although that might be the issue with some people. But most of the time, it's because they have been adjusting themselves too much and for too long to roles, environments, expectations, responsibilities, other people's wishes, and so on and so forth. And they started to drift away from the version of themselves they actually want to be, or rather that they actually are in their essence. But that essence that has been hidden over time, and it's dormant somewhere inside of them. And look, I've gone through this too. I think a lot of people go through this, and it's not surprising because we're brought up to live up to other people's expectations. Starts with our parents, right? Normal process, other people's wishes. But here's the good news. We can change this. So let me ask you something very directly. Are you being who you are, or are you being who you adapted yourself to be? Very important question because there's a difference. And most people don't notice when the shift happens, also because it actually happens very early in life for most of us. But and it doesn't happen overnight, right? And the truth is, some of it might have happened so long ago that you don't even remember it. While we were very young kids. But definitely doesn't happen because we made some big decision of being someone else one day. Usually, this shift is a result of many small moments, like saying yes when you mean no, like staying in rooms that no longer reflect who you are, or like playing a version of yourself that works well in the system you're in, maybe, but not for you internally anymore. And again, all of this starts in our childhood and definitely happens for a lot of us in school, right? And then it's perpetuated in your job or as a business owner in the marketplace until one day you realize that you're operating on a kind of internal autopilot. And that autopilot is to a big extent a result of external conditioning, but also a result of many micro decisions that you have made along the way, and which might even have turned into habits or identities, personalities. Now, here's what I find powerful. You don't need to find yourself. You already know deep down, if you really take time to pause and listen in those honest moments, you know who you want to be, which is the same as who you are in your essence. The real question is whether you're willing to let that version take up more space in your life, that true you. So again, being more of who you want to be is not about becoming someone new. It's about allowing what's already there, your essence, to become more visible in how you live and work and how you show up. And that includes your preferences, your values, your desires, your way of thinking, your way of leading, and so on. So, where do you start? Start with noticing. Notice where you shrink yourself, your core. Notice where you override your own voice. Notice where you choose convenience over alignment. Note, Notice where you feel a need to be arrogant, maybe, because arrogance is always a sign of insecurity and of not being yourself. And please do not judge it. Just see it clearly. Maybe also think about where all this started. Awareness changes the next choice. So it's really, really important to be aware first. Without awareness, we cannot change anything. The more awareness you gain about this, the better in the long run. And once you have that awareness, that's when the shift can happen. And again, this may not be a dramatic reinvention, or it could be if you want it to be. But again, the reinvention is not about becoming somebody new. It's about becoming more of you, bringing out more of you, not even becoming. Such a becoming has become such a buzzword, and I do actually not like it because you're not becoming anybody else. You're just bringing out more of who you already are. And again, this could be a dramatic reinvention, but it doesn't have to be. For most people, it's a series of small, deliberate choices where you begin to act a little more from your core, a little more like the person you truly are. Speak a little more directly, maybe. Say no a little sooner than usual when you want to actually say no. Express what you really think instead of what keeps things smooth. And over time, something changes. You stop performing a version of yourself and you start inhabiting your own life more fully, embodying your essence. So I leave you with this. Where right now are you still being less of who you want to be? Simply because it's more familiar or expected or easier. Or again, the more correct way of saying this is actually where right now are you still being less of what you are already at your core? Where are you showing up as less than what and who you are at your core, in your essence? And what would shift if you started choosing differently, just a little more often? Because embodying more of who you are in your essence starts in the next small decision you make.